Hi, and welcome to another episode of Tea with Tara. Today on the show, I have a friend and fellow writer, Marcie Herman Riebe, and she is a poet, a playwright, and an actress. Marcie is a bilingual caseworker by day, an adjunct instructor of English by night, and an aspiring writer at times in between. It's Not Easy Being was Marcie's second full-length play, but the first to be performed. Her play Pockets premieres at Diva Theater in Scranton this August. Marcie's other one acts at the Diva Theater include Critical Role and The Girl Who Didn't Talk, but she loves to be on stage just as much as writing for it. Marcie has had her poetry published in King's College's SCOP, the local poets' live anthologies, and in the I Am Strength, True Stories of Everyday Superwomen anthology from Blind Faith Books, which, by the way, is how Marcie and I met. Marcie is a founder of the Diva Dramatists, a writing group for local playwrights. She is a founding member and board president of Voci Angeli in Scranton, the area's only all-female choir, which performs annually to support local charities. She is also on the board of directors with Arcadia Choral. She lives in Scranton with Pete, her husband, and their four felines, King Ajax, Sam, Dean, and Siv. So in just a few minutes, we will be joined by Marcie Herman Riebe. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to Tea with Tara, conversations about writing. We are now joined with the talented Marcie Herman Riebe. Hi, Marcie.
Hi, thank you.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. You know, I actually said in the intro that we met during I Am Strength, but I think we met before that.
Did we?
Yeah, I think at the Brick Theater when I was doing the writer's showcase. I think that's when I started.
Oh, yeah, but that was like right before that.
Yeah, it was like right before, maybe a month or so. So
how long is that now? Is that like 2018?
Oh yeah, 2018.
Oh,
you believe it? Been a long, yeah, it seems like yesterday. Okay, so I know you're a woman who wears many hats, but you're a writer. So I want to know all about how your love of writing came about.
it's definitely because I was a reader. I was an only child, and I think I took a book everywhere I went, just in case there weren't kids to hang out with. And even sometimes when there were, I just buried myself in whatever I was reading. And I have my parents to thank for that because they're both readers and they really encouraged me to read too. And I think that I came to writing kind of late. I tried and dabbled in high school and college, but I didn't really get serious about it until probably like 2014 when I took Don Lee's poetry workshop that they had at the Game Chateau. And then I thought, oh, maybe I can do this. So I think that's how
you weren't writing when you were a child then?
No. I mean, the stuff we had to do at school, sure, and essays and things, which I liked to do, but like creative writing, no, not really until I was probably a junior in high school.
So you mentioned that you were a voracious reader. Who were the authors that you were reading when you were growing up?
When I was a kid, I loved Beverly Cleary books.
Yeah.
I think Hobbit was one that I remember that I really loved. What Buck Everlasting. Do you know that book?
No, I don't.
Oh, that was one that I really liked too. And I can remember very distinctly reading Where the Red Fern Grows, and I loved it, but I cried a lot. We had to read that one for school, but it stuck with me.
So how did your interest in poetry and playwriting begin?
Well, really, I had been interested in poetry in college and had been discouraged from doing it. Someone told me, maybe you don't have anything to say. I think it was really, I was just new and I didn't really know what I wanted to do yet. I had liked to read poetry and I guess I just wanted to give it a try. So when I saw Dawn's workshop, I called the Game Chateau and signed up for it. So that's it.
So you had a few naysayers in your life then when it came to writing?
One. Yeah.
So
I really thought wouldn't be a naysayer, but ended up being that way.
So you are a playwright and an actress. How did you become interested in the stage? When did the acting thing begin?
I was in the drama club in high school. I got asked to be an accompanist for their show when I was a freshman, so that the other guy who was an accompanist could do other things in the show. And then I thought, oh, I really kind of want to be on the stage. Like, I had done some acting things, through school, but nothing serious. But when I got there, it was a good bunch of people, and thought it was a way to challenge myself.
Did you go to the theater at all growing up?
We did. Saw my first Broadway play when I was 12, I think. When we went to see Cats on a trip. And I'm sure we saw other things too. Nothing really sticks out. I think it was more when I got to experience it as my own person doing it that I was really interested in it.
So what do you consider yourself most? Do you think you're a writer? Do you think are you an actress?
I don't know. I'd like to think it's both.
Do you prefer one over the other?
I mean, I've had some success with acting, and I think when it comes down to it, I like to do that a lot. But writing the plays for the stage is kind of a fun adventure too. Just trying to come up with new things that people haven't seen before and try to create characters with voices that are distinct and hopefully have some depth to them. It's kind of fun too. I don't know if I could pick. I guess it's both.
So take me into your writing process. Now, I'm sure it differs when you're writing poetry for plays. What are some of your writing strategies for each?
I
Or
probably
is
don't.
it the same?
I probably don't have good ones. It is pretty similar. I think I'm more of an idea generator than a follow through kind of person. So, and it's hard when I have a lot going on to make time, to make myself make time to have writing time. But my phone, it has a whole list. I mean, I don't know how long it would be if I ever tried to print out like the notepad sheet, but I mean, it'd have to be pages and pages and pages of ideas. And, sometimes they come in the middle of the night and I'm typing on my phone in the dark. And I hope that some of them come to fruition someday, but I think lately a lot of them are play ideas. I haven't done any poems in a while, but I'm trying to work on an essay right now. So maybe something will happen with that.
Do you have any writing quirks? Like, do you write at home or do you have to go to like a cafe? Like, I have to go to a cafe sometimes because
Oh,
sometimes the house is just too distracting.
yeah. No, I pretty much write wherever I feel like, oh, it's time. I just start writing.
Do you have what does your writing space look like?
I don't really have one.
Oh, okay.
It's my computer or my notebook, usually on the couch.
Do you remember the
Maybe
first
that's
play?
part of it too. Maybe I need a desk.
Maybe. Do you remember the first play you ever wrote?
That was when I was a junior in high school. It was called Hannah. And it was about a family dealing with an aunt who had Alzheimer's, which was actually something our family was going through at that point. So I guess it was art imitating life.
Do you have a favorite playwright?
I really like Sarah Rule. She wrote The Clean House, which I was in a couple of years ago. I think she's probably my favorite modern playwright right now. I don't know if I have an old school one. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I think she's probably my favorite right now, though.
So as an actress, what kind of acting roles do you look for?
Funny ones.
Comedies? You like the comedies?
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah,
ever done drama?
I have. I think I did okay, but I think part of it is knowing your strengths. So I feel like I do better at comedies, so I usually look for those.
And how do you prepare for a role? Because I know I've always wanted to be an actress, but I have a terrible memory. So I'm that's one of the things that keeps me away. So how do you prepare?
It is hard, and it gets harder as I get older. I usually do my lines on index cards and make them like flashcards. I'll put the line before on one side and mine on the other. and try to learn it that way. I know when I was younger, I would just read the script over and over and just, I don't know if it's sort of like a partial photographic memory kind of thing. Like sometimes I could picture it on the page, but that doesn't work anymore. So yeah, it's I mean, that helps too because I can write out my lines, which is just another way to repeat them. I think that that's probably my best technique, but I mean, otherwise preparing, if it's, you know, a play that's been done many times before, sometimes I'll go on YouTube and see if there are any clips of it just to get a feel for it. Not that I really want to try to copy someone's interpretation of the character, but sometimes it gives you ideas or ways that you don't want to do it to get a new look or a new take on it.
Have you ever written a novel or anything nonfiction?
Yes, I have 2 novel drafts that are incomplete that were based on a game some friends and I used to play, and the main character's name is Opal Thistleweight, and she's I don't know, like not a magician, that's not the word I want. Sort of like a book wizard, right? Like she reads books and things that she's read, she can sometimes get to happen. So
Do you like the process of novel writing, or do you find it harder?
it's stressful. It was stressful.
Is it more
I mean,
stressful than writing plays?
yeah, because I mean it's more like a marathon than you know, a sprint, which I think poetry seems more like you can do it in small, short bursts. Even plays too, I feel you could write a couple scenes and then go back to it and continue. And the keeping track of the novel is just a lot of work, and maybe I just don't have time. I do too many other things.
When do you think a person is able to call themselves a writer? When did you first start using that title for yourself?
There was another workshop after Dawn's that was a short fiction one with Francisco Tutorella, and he was like, you know, Marcie, why don't you call yourself a writer? Didn't you just write stuff? And I said, oh yeah, I guess so. Like if you're writing things, you're a writer. If you want to call yourself a writer, just do it.
So you don't have to get paid to be a writer.
I don't think so. I don't think it has to be any kind of recognition. I think if you feel like what you're doing is the right thing for you and you feel like, you know, it's a practice that you want to try to hone, why not be a writer?
And also, if you keep at it, you have to keep at it, right? As a writer.
Yeah.
Now, here's the inevitable question I ask all of my guests: writer's block. Does it exist or not? Or is it procrastination?
I think it does exist. The past couple of weeks when I was working on this essay, I've been wanting to write, but then when I go to do it,
Nothing
everything I had thought of, it's gone. It's just out of my head. And then I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'll just keep writing things down and see if anything sticks. So I think it does. I think it does exist. And I guess my way to cope with it is to, you know, like do something else for a while. You know, listen to music or watch an episode of a TV show or something just to try to get your brain off of it to try to go back.
So one of the things that every writer deals with is rejection. How do you deal with rejection?
It's just another thing to deal with. I haven't submitted a lot of stuff to try to get published. But when the rejections come back, I mean, that's part of writing too. Sometimes it's not the right thing for the people that you send it to. You have to
You don't
get
take
back
it
on the horse, like they say, right?
right. So you don't take it personally?
Not really. Sometimes I know I've looked at the letter and been like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't think your reasoning is really sound, but you know, within a day or so, done. I'm over it.
Do you keep a journal?
Uh I've tried in the past. It doesn't really work for me. There's a whole lot of partial journals.
So I was going to ask if you found it cathartic, but okay, we'll skip that question.
No, I don't think it's my thing.
Oh, so I just asked where are your favorite places to write. What does your writing, oh, you already answered that. Your writing space at home is the couch, which is a
Yeah,
good
or
space
my
wherever it
car,
works, right?
or sitting on a bench somewhere, wherever it is. Yeah.
Tell me a little about your new play, Pockets. How did you get the idea for this, and what is it about?
Pockets came about a long time ago. Um, in 2018, we were in scene study at Diva Theater in Scranton, and one of the women in class, her name's Roxana, she said, "Hey Paige, we should do a show to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which was coming up in 2020." And we were all like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." All the women were very excited. And we made a Facebook group to try to, throw ideas around, see if we could find a play that we could do that already existed. And we decided we didn't really like any of the ones that we'd found, so we should do our own thing. And then we bought some books, and people were reading things and looking for things online that we could try to include. And then we all kind of forgot about it. And it was, I don't know, March maybe of 2019. And I said, "Oh, if we're gonna do this, like somebody's got to do it." And I guess I just kind of took on the mantle. It was right after we had been in that women, like writing for women workshop that Diva had. And I guess it was kind of cooking in my brain at that point, but I had no idea what it was going to be. Someone had said in that group, maybe we should do like the Seneca Falls Convention speeches and things around that. And one of the primers that I'd bought that had suffrage pieces in it, I'd read it, but they were very dry. And I thought, this isn't really going to be exciting for an audience to watch. It's going to be more of a chore than something enjoyable that they'll pay attention to and take something from. And after a while, I had a couple of scenes written, and I took them to the Diva Dramatists writing group. And, I kind of said, "Do you think that I should keep going with this, people?" And they all seemed to say yes. And then my husband and my father-in-law and I went on a trip, and we were staying in this cabin like on Lake Seneca in Watkins Glen, and they went to the races in Watkins Glen, and I stayed in the cabin and wrote the first draft of Pockets, which really came about because there's a poem by Sharon Owens, who's an Irish poet and author, and one of my friends had shared it on Facebook, and it was about women needing to sew dangerous coats full of pockets in sedition. And I'm like, "Oh, women love pockets. What are things that people put in pockets?" And I went back to that Facebook group we'd made, and I'm like, "Tell me what's in your pockets." And then I just sort of came up with a list of things that women have had to deal with throughout American history, and just tried to pair them up with things that come out of or go into pockets. And that's where we are.
So it's mainly a drama then, or is there any?
No, I would say if you were going to put it in a category, it's comedy. I have a lot of fun parts in it.
But it
Just because
speaks
I
for
feel like
women. It has a message for women, correct?
absolutely. Yep. I think it has a message for everyone. I mean, that was my hope, that even men who came to see the play would walk away with something. We did a couple of read-throughs last year, and my father-in-law said, "Boy, now I see things about pockets everywhere. Like, even if it just gets them to like notice things they didn't notice before." I'm hoping that that's a win.
Well, the title is wonderful. I remember when you first told me that, I thought that is such an ingenious idea for a title. That
I
alone
hope
will
that
grab
that
someone's
brings some
attention.
people in. I hope that interests them.
And this is in
Play about
August, right?
pockets. What?
It's coming out in August, the play?
Yes, it's the first 2 weekends of August, the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and the 12th, 13th, and 14th.
So when you're writing a play, whatever play you're writing, what comes to you first? Do you see the plot first? Do you get the idea for the plot, or is it mostly characters?
I think for me, it's usually character first. So I have some characters that I have written things out about and just haven't found a way to use them yet. I think that that's the way pockets happen, because the style of the play is like vignettes. Like there's lots of monologues and like scenes with just a couple of people. They're short in length, and I think that one's definitely character driven, because I had to take what was going to go in the pocket and then find somebody from American history, whether real or fictional, to put with it. I think it was different with my other play, It's Not Easy Being. That was more, oh, here's a place where I can use the color green and come up with a story to tell. I think that one worked the other way. It was more plot driven when I was writing than character.
So when you have a character driven play, do you find that the characters, and I know other people who are not writers will find us crazy for saying this, but do they haunt you? Do they invade your mind at night when you're trying to sleep? Do they kind of take over?
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of having the phone. Sometimes I'll think of like something or hear somebody say something, because I like to eavesdrop and take lines from what people have said, and I'll be like, oh, that goes with that character. But yeah, they definitely get in my head and keep me up some nights.
So if you could choose one thing, which would you rather be? An actress, a playwright, or a poet? What comes to you first?
Actress.
Actress.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
ever? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I like being able to bring words to life. No, I think that's for me the easiest access route is taking what somebody else has written and trying to make it realistic. Not that I don't like the other two, I do, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick that.
And you're in a chorus too, so you're also a singer.
Yeah, I can't do it this summer because of pockets with rehearsals, but yeah, Voce Angeli in Scranton is an all women's choir, the only one in Northeast PA. And each summer we do a benefit concert for a local charity.
Have you ever been frustrated with writing? Have you ever thought about, you know what,
You
I
mean other
can't
than
do
right
this
now?
anymore. I can't do it anymore. I don't want to, and been ready to throw in the towel?
Yeah, many times. I think that's why I go for long stretches sometimes when I don't write a lot, because I get fed up with not being able to say what I want to say or not coming up with an idea that I think is going to work. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, same with me. I mean, they say, oh, well, there's really not writer's block. Some people I've talked to on here said, I think it's more procrastination. But I said, no, I want to write, but I just don't have, sometimes the words just don't come,
I agree.
or the ideas.
Yep. Or you get an idea and you think, oh yeah, here we go, I'm ready, and you start writing and then you're like, this is crummy. I can't do this. I'm not a good writer.
So how do you unwind as a writer? Because we know writing is fun, but sometimes it could be a little bit isolating. How do you decompress?
Music. I love music. And I think it's gotten me through a lot of tough times in my life and will continue to do so. And I can't really say like what kind of music it is, because sometimes it's classical and sometimes it's Bjork and other times it's metal. Like it's all over the place.
Do you like to take literary pilgrimages? Have you ever been to any authors' homes?
Haven't. I think the problem is a lot of the writers that I felt like I identified with as I got older were more European based. So that's a really expensive pilgrimage. Maybe someday for some of them, but not right now. We just bought a new house.
How's that going, by the way? It looks great.
Good. I love it. So nice.
So if we were walking through your new house,
Mhm.
what books would we find on your bookshelf?
Let's see. How about my book stand? There's like my nightstand. There's a Max Brooks book about Sasquatches. There's a collection of Yeats poetry. There's an Anthony Bourdain book that I started a long time ago and never finished and want to go back to. Mill on the Floss is on the nightstand. And I can't remember the author's name. It's a French writer. The book's called The Void. It's been translated from the French, but it doesn't contain the letter E in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what's on my nightstand. I can't go through the bookshelves. There's too many books.
Okay, so if you could meet and have dinner with one writer, living or dead, who would that be?
It's a hard one. Who would I pick? Oh my gosh. Tara. Maybe Dorothy Parker. I like a lot of her stories and her little quips. I think she'd be an interesting person to have dinner with.
Shakespeare? Would you love to ask him whether he really wrote the plays, or does that not
I
concern
mean,
you?
uh, it would be interesting to know, but yeah, it doesn't really concern me as much. If I was gonna pick somebody like really old and dead a long time, like him, I'd probably actually go with Chaucer. I had a Chaucer class in college that I really enjoyed, and I'd probably actually try to talk to Jeffrey Chaucer.
The Canterbury Tales were awesome. I was probably one of the few people in my high school English class that actually liked that book,
Yep.
but I
Yep.
loved it.
Yeah.
Are you currently working on anything?
My friend Paul Gallo, who is directing Pockets with me, we're working on a play together. We like to tell people that it's the movie Dogma meets the movie Office Space. There's archetypal characters of the 7 deadly sins and 7 heavenly virtues, and they work for a heavenly company, for the powers that be, and there's a merger, and 7 new members come on board, and they are from a writing prompt that we found. They're the 7 modern inconveniences, and so it's sort of like office situations with these characters, and it's pretty fun. We think it's hilarious. We laugh at it every time we get together to look at it. Hopefully other people will think it's funny someday too.
Do you have a big group of writers that you work with now?
Since COVID, it's kind of dwindled. Our Diva Dramatists group has like 4 or 5 that are pretty steady. And it's been kind of hard because some of the people that I used to write with at the Game Chateau, like since that closed, we don't get together to write anymore or share things. I guess COVID ruined.
Yeah,
everything.
COVID kind of put an end to a lot of
Everything.
things, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, last question. What would you tell if somebody came up to you, a student or anyone came up to you and said, I want to be a writer? What is the best piece of advice that you could give that person?
Right. Like anything. Like I feel I've become a better writer by not limiting myself to the kind of writing that I do. Right. I tried journaling. Okay, that wasn't for me, but I did try it. I've tried some nonfiction things. I tried that novel. I don't think that I'm made to write novels, but I think that there were things that I did there that I learned from, whether good or bad, to carry over into other kinds of writing that I feel I do better at. Like I just think don't pigeonhole yourself in one genre.
Right.
Maybe it's not the right one.
And have you ever tried screenwriting at all?
I did. I took a screenwriting workshop at the Game Chateau. And I guess I didn't follow the assignment. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I thought it had promise, but it wasn't like the assignment that he had given.
Did you find it to be a lot like playwriting?
Yeah, similar, but there's a lot of conventions in screenwriting that aren't in play scripts, like with camera things and that kind of stuff that I didn't really have a grasp of, but I tried, like here's a shot of this, and I actually had made like little pictures and like a storyboard almost, like to try to get the images in my head as I was writing it. But that's like a whole different ball game, I guess.
So I said last question before, but I lied. I
Oh,
have one
that's
more
fine.
question.
That's
So
fine.
who are your mentors? Because I always find that mentors are so important. And who were they growing up? Who are they now? Who are the people who inspire you?
I mean, I think a lot of my mentors were teachers. My mom and dad are teachers. They were certainly mentors to me. Mr. Romansky and Mr. Yeager in high school were mentors to me. Like, it wasn't writing mentors, but I think that they really helped me with getting critical thinking skills and things that I've used in my writing, whether it's teaching writing or doing writing myself. Dr. Pat Heeman was my first professor in college that I had for English 102. And she was definitely someone I learned a lot from in terms of rhetoric and technique, but also analysis, I guess, and synthesis and evaluation. We had done that in high school, but it was she took me to a different level. She had me looking for things that I hadn't anticipated before. So I think that she was probably a big influence. I mean, for poetry, it's Don Lees. She's just so encouraging and open-minded. She wants you to push yourself, and I think that that's probably one of the best things a mentor can be. But I think I get a lot of strength in writing too from the people in the dramatists group, who are really honest when things don't work or when things do work. And I think that that's something that if you're looking for a writing mentor, like, that's what you want. You don't want someone who's just going to be like, oh yeah, it's really good, I like this. Sometimes you have to get
You need the honesty. Yeah.
that's not so good, or that doesn't sound like maybe it should. Yeah, like, you want somebody who's gonna give you the good and the bad and the ugly.
Do you look up to famous people at all as mentors, or not really?
I don't know. I guess I don't really think about it that much. I'm gonna say no. I
Oh,
think I feel like I get more out of relationships I have with people in my own life
right, real life.
than out of like celebrity kind of adoration.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Although I do look up to Dolly Parton. It's
I
just
mean,
that's just me.
who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't, right?
Awesome. She's awesome.
Well, Marcie, it was so wonderful having you on the show. Like I said
For
in
having
my
me.
introduction, she is a woman who wears many hats: poet, playwright, actress, singer, teacher.
Yeah.
So her play Pockets is, tell us the dates again. August
5th, 6th, 7th, and 12th, 13th, and 14th at Diva Theater in Scranton, which is next door to Sterna's on Market Street.
Okay, so head on down there in August and see Pockets. Thank you so much, Marcie.
Thank you.
So that wraps up another episode of Tea with Tara. I want to thank my very special guest, Marcie Herman Riebe, and be sure to see her play Pockets in August. And as for Tea with Tara, I will be traveling a little bit and going to some authors' homes, not actually inside the homes, but I will be taking videos of the outside and giving a little background information on those homes. So look for that. That will be coming up at the end of July or August. Sooner or later, you'll see it. But anyway, it was great having everybody tune in for this episode of Tea with Tara, conversations about writing. And as always, writers, keep writing, and I will see you next time. Thanks.